It is so necessary for people now to learn a greater knowledge, a greater wisdom and a greater spirituality, so that they may find their true abilities and be able to use them effectively. Your freedom is at stake. The future of your world is at stake. It is because of this that we have been sent here to speak for the allies of humanity. There are those in the universe who are keeping knowledge and wisdom alive, and who practice a greater community spirituality. They do not travel all about, casting influence over different worlds. They do not take people against their will. They do not steal your animals and your plants. They do not cast influence over your governments. They do not seek to breed with humanity in order to create a new leadership here. Your allies do not seek to interfere in human affairs. They do not seek to manipulate human destiny. They watch from afar, and they send emissaries such as ourselves, at great risk to us, to give counsel and encouragement, and to clarify things when that becomes necessary. We, therefore, come in peace with a vital message. Now we must speak of the fourth area in which your visitors seek to establish themselves, and that is through interbreeding. They cannot live in your environment. They need your physical stamina. They need your natural affinity with the world. They need your reproductive abilities. They also want to bond with you, because they understand that this creates allegiance. This, in a way, establishes their presence here, because the offspring of such a program will have blood relations in the world, and yet will have allegiance to the visitors. Perhaps this seems incredible, yet it is so very real. The visitors are not here to take your reproductive abilities away from you. They are here to establish themselves. They want humanity to believe in them, and to serve them. They want humanity to work for them. They will promise anything, offer anything and do anything to achieve this goal. Yet though their persuasion is great, their numbers are small. But their influence is growing, and their program of interbreeding, which has been underway for several generations, will eventually be effective. There will be human beings of greater intelligence, but who do not represent the human family. Such things are possible, and have occurred countless times in the greater community. You have only to look at your own history, to see the impact of cultures and races upon one another, and to see how dominating and how influential these interactions can be. Thus, we bring with us important news, serious news. But you must take heart, for this is not a time for ambivalence. This is not a time to seek escape. This is not a time to concern yourself with your own happiness. This is a time to contribute to the world, to strengthen the human family, and to call forth those natural abilities that exist in people, the ability to see, to know and to act in harmony with one another. These abilities can offset the influence that is being cast upon humanity at this time, but these abilities must grow and be shared. It is of the utmost importance. This is our counsel. It comes with good intentions. Be glad that you have allies in the greater community, for allies you will need. You are entering a greater universe, filled with forces and influences that you have not yet learned how to counteract. You are entering a greater panorama of life, and you must prepare for this. Our words are but part of the preparation. A preparation is being sent into the world now. It does not come from us. It comes from the Creator of all life. It comes at just the right time. For this is the time for humanity to become strong and wise. You have the ability to do this. And the events and circumstances of your life create a great need for this. Second briefing. The challenge to human freedom. Humanity is approaching a very dangerous and very important time in its collective development. You are on the verge of emerging into a greater community of intelligent life. You will be encountering other races of beings who are coming to your world seeking to protect their interests, and to discover what opportunities may lie ahead. They are not angels or angelic beings. They are not spiritual entities. They are beings who are coming to your world for resources, for alliances and to gain an advantage in an emerging world. They are not evil. They are not holy. In that, they are also much like you. They are simply driven by their needs, their associations, their beliefs and their collective goals. This is a very great time for humanity, but humanity is not prepared. From our vantage point, we can see this on a larger scale. We do not involve ourselves with the daily lives of individuals in the world. We do not attempt to persuade governments, or to lay claim to certain parts of the world, or to certain resources that exist there. Instead, We observe, and we wish to report what we observe, for this is our mission in being here. The unseen ones have told us that there are many people today who feel a strange discomfort, a sense of vague urgency, a feeling that something is going to happen, and that something must be done. Perhaps there is nothing within their daily sphere of experience that justifies these deeper feelings, that verifies the importance of these feelings, or that gives substance to their expression. We can understand this because we have been through similar things ourselves in our own histories. We represent several races joined together in our small alliance to support the emergence of knowledge and wisdom in the universe, particularly with races that are on the threshold of emerging into the greater community. These emerging races are particularly vulnerable to foreign influence and manipulation. They are particularly vulnerable to misunderstanding their situation, and understandably so, for how could they comprehend the meaning and the complexity of life within the greater community? That is why we wish to play our small part in preparing and in educating humanity. In our first discourse, we gave a broad description of the visitors' involvement in 4 areas. The first area is the influence on important people in positions of power in governments and at the head of religious institutions. The second area of influence is on people who have a spiritual inclination and who wish to open themselves to the greater powers that exist in the universe. The third area of involvement is the visitors' building of establishments in the world in strategic locations, near population centers, where their influence on the mental environment can be exercised. And lastly, we spoke of their program of interbreeding with humanity, a program which has been underway for quite some time. We understand how troubling this news may be, and perhaps how disappointing it may be to many people who had high hopes and expectations that visitors from beyond would bring blessings and great benefit to humanity. It is natural perhaps to assume and to expect these things, but the greater community into which humanity is emerging is a difficult and competitive environment, particularly in areas in the universe where many different races compete with each other and interact for trade and commerce. Your world exists in such an area. This may seem incredible to you, because it has always seemed that you lived in isolation, alone within the vast emptiness of space. But really you live in an inhabited part of the universe, where trade and commerce have been established and where traditions, interactions, and associations are all long-standing. And to your benefit, you live in a beautiful world, a world of great biological diversity, a splendid place in contrast to the starkness of so many other worlds. However, this also gives your situation great urgency and poses a genuine risk, for you possess what many others want for themselves. They do not seek to destroy you, but to gain your allegiance and your alliance, so that your existence in the world and your activities here can be for their benefit. You are emerging into a mature and complicated set of circumstances. Here you cannot be like little children, and believe and hope for the blessings of all whom you may encounter. You must become wise and discerning, as we, through our difficult histories, have had to become wise and discerning. Now humanity will have to learn about the ways of the greater community, about the intricacies of interaction between races, about the complexities of trade, and about the subtle manipulations of associations and alliances that are established between worlds. It is a difficult but important time for humanity, a time of great promise, if true preparation can be undertaken. In this, our second discourse, we would like to speak in greater detail about the intervention into human affairs by various groups of visitors, what this may mean for you, and what this will require,